You know what time it is?
What is up, everyone? How's everyone doing tonight? I think I'm on 2 weeks in a row, so I'm doing good with the live stream. Yeah, I've been on 2 weeks in a row, and we might even do an extra stream this week. So, guys, we actually got some Power Ranger news. We just had San Diego Comic-Con, so I didn't think we were going to anything in San Diego Comic-Con, but we got a little bit. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. But I know a lot of people want to talk Deadpool and Wolverine, so we're going to talk Deadpool and Wolverine. Before we got special guests, but before I bring them in, I just want to say hi to a couple people. We got Astronaut Ranger saying, "What's up, man?" We got Josh. We got Maddie from Mid Tennessee Geek. We got Wanda. What's going up? We got Tyler from Tripping Over Toys. What's up, Nick? Millennium Workshop. Marty Cohn. Milady Cat. Of course, yes, I got a haircut. I did. Trying something new. We'll see. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and bring in our panel. So a lot of you guys remember, he's probably one of the most smartest entertainment guys I know. He knows every podcast, he knows every movie review, he knows what everyone is saying. Guys, I want to welcome back Tyler to the stream. What's going on, man?
Hey man, you hyped me up there. Hopefully I live up to that. Appreciate it.
Dude, man, that last stream, we went long that last stream though, because it was good. Yeah, and we it was engaged, it was awesome. So we are talking Deadpool and Wolverine, so it would not be appropriate to not have a cameo. So a lot of you guys here, you may know her from Toku Topics. You may know her from Too Many Topics. Guys, welcome to the chat. Josh, what's going on?
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, actually, okay, you were on the Christopher Kamen Lee one.
Yeah.
I was about to say, and that was the one where I accidentally blew you up. real big.
That's right.
Just remember, your face was just like, oh.
Yeah. And that's also the one where I was like 20 minutes late because of my computer being annoying, and so
it was perfect though.
It was
the most awesome entrance I think we've ever had on the stream. It was perfect for Josh. So guys, we have a little bit of Power Ranger news, and I'm gonna say we're not gonna spend a lot of time on it because what I've been getting on, people want to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. So we're gonna talk about it tonight, and we're gonna talk full spoilers. So, but we will go over the Power Ranger news because we did have some news this weekend at San Diego Comic-Con and Cleveland, out of all places. So
yeah, my neck of the woods, because that's where I went to college.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry.
We got Joshua saying, "Hey there, Daniel. How are you? I'm good. Chris Thomas, how are you doing, man?" We got Miguel Crespo. So I watched Deadpool. It was fun to watch, but the story was trash. We'll talk about it, and we're gonna be honest about things we like, we didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I was a total sucker for it, so there's not gonna be a lot of things I don't like. But
yeah, I'm gonna be very positive as well. So.
Oh, yeah.
So the big news we got, it was the Heritage auction. So this came from Twitter. I want to say it was Julian on Twitter.
Yeah, I think it was Martian Ranger posted it.
So he released this image. I don't know actually if it started with him, but it's where I saw it. Basically that they're auctioning off a bunch of the suits that they made for Once and Always. Now this is the initial news that we got was they're auctioning off the suits for Once and Always, and all of us we're they just made those. These are the nice suits. They're breathable. They're the stunt actors like them because you can move them better and more. They were more visible in the helmets and stuff like that. We're and so a lot, of course, we as a Power Ranger fandom, we panicked. And then we found out it was actually going to be everything in that warehouse. It was going to be 900 items that were going up for sale. A lot of people are kind of calling this the end for Hasbro and stuff like that. We've been told there was a similar thing that had happened before, during the when it transitioned to Disney and stuff like that. They have a lot of monster costumes in there. I think the big take is that they're getting rid of some of these suits. I'm guessing they probably have 3 or 4 of these sets, but even that they're getting rid of one, I don't know. It just, for me, it kind of seemed like poor taste considering the timing of all the news with the franchise and stuff like that. We'll start with Josh. What do you think about this news?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not surprised that they would want to sell some things, but like you said, they just made these suits. Presumably they're gonna want Mighty Morphin suits around to have just cause even if there's no show or for just promo material. So I'm sure, like you said, there's probably multiple copies of them and everything, but seeing the Zed suit from Dino and Cosmic Fury here is kind of sad. I mean, it looks great, and I was saying that on Twitter. I would love to do a fandom crowdfund of Robo Snizzard, since he was made Lightning Collection figures out of Rangers. He's kind of like our toy line ambassador, I guess, or like representative to me. So like I would love to own and save the Robo Snizzard suit and make it owned by the fandom, but like I think like I'm not surprised that they're doing something like this. I'm surprised it's so many things, because they said 900 lots, but like, is that 900 single items, or is it like, is there going to be like?
I think it's single items. I think they're saying the 900 to make it sound bigger.
Right.
Yeah, that's my guess.
It's like it's just so hard to know, because they said suits and props, and that could be so many things.
Yeah, well, that's how they do when they do these auctions. A lot is an item, or like let's say, I'm just use Batman here. When they were auctioning off some like the old like Batman and Robin stuff, it was like all the Batarangs. That's one lot. So
right. That's what I was saying.
So you could have like everyone up there. That's each individual lots, but you probably have maybe a set of all the power coins or stuff like that'll be a lot too. So some of the smaller
that would annoy me if they like separate all the blasters like from the suits. And, that's that should be part of the suit. That's
look at them here. Everybody has the Blade Blaster on the wrong side.
Yeah.
And then I think Billy has it in Blade mode for some reason.
Oh, I didn't get closer pictures. I just got this one.
Yeah, and then like two of them have it in blaster mode. It's like I don't know what is going on.
They let the intern set those displays.
Yeah. I just like Red just stepped out of his boots. They're just standing next to him.
I really like the once and always suits. Like you could tell like these were upgraded suits. And my thing is just like I think it's just poor taste. That's what my thing is. Like I just think it doesn't look good. I feel
like it was an inevitability, but I think that like you said, the timing is rough.
Right, exactly.
And it makes it like, if this was like maybe next year, like even that would have probably been pretty soon. But
or like, before a new show. It's about to come
or
out
before a new show, it would feel less like they were just trying to clean their hands of it as quick as possible. So. Right.
Well, we actually did have some private auctions this week. Now, a lot of people confuse these with like the auctions that they're already doing. So these were already these are being sold right now by private sellers, or were being sold by private sellers. I think the Red Ranger suit went for about $26,000. Now they were claiming that this was an Austin St. John original, but then they had like showed pictures of the boots, and inside it says Steve. So yeah, I didn't get that picture. I should have got it. The White Ranger suit, I'm pretty sure it is. So actually, I contacted the family and I asked if this was like his suit, and they're like, yeah. And I asked if they were going to get it, and they said, we have enough. So, but nonetheless, it sold for $45,000, which is an insane amount. So I was really curious.
It started at 8,000.
It started at 8,000, and I thought 8,000 was a little low, but I still think 45,000 is really high.
Oh yeah, 45. I mean, someone really wanted it.
So, and I was really I was kind of surprised when the family told me like, no, like, I think we're good, and I think there's something more there going on. I didn't really ask them too much about it. I just asked if
I mean, I feel like it's a thing where like, I mean, obviously storing these is a pain.
Yeah.
And so I would get it, how many he would have had, but also at the same time, maybe there's some more to read into that, but
yeah. What do you think, Tyler? Would you about it?
Absolutely. If I was single and didn't have to worry about someone else's, approval.
Yeah, that extra $50,000 burning the hole in my pocket.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like we're very proud of our collectibles, man. So it would have been incredible to own something like that. But I kind of agree with both of y'all as far as the auction itself. I feel like it was a strike while the iron's hot kind of thing, but maybe they didn't read the room.
Yeah.
Well, when have they ever?
That's fair.
So getting into some toy news, I covered this weekend. So a lot of you guys know that we have Kat on the team, and Kat represented us at San Diego Comic-Con and got us a couple of breaking news items, which we'll discuss here in a second. One of the things that kind of we broke, well, I don't want to say we broke, but we talked about is that 3-0 is going to be releasing kaiju figures beginning with Godzilla, and I think this is freaking awesome. Like 3-0 making kaiju figures, like that is cool, man. So I don't know. I know Josh, you have an appreciation for kaiju. Tyler, do you like kaijus as well?
It's a giant monster. I mean, what's not to like about it? I definitely, going back to my previous statement, this is striking while the iron's hot in the right way.
Right.
With the success of Godzilla in recent years and the resurgence of it too, I think this is it's a no-brainer and it's a win-win for everybody, collectors and obviously the companies that make them.
I know, Josh, you collect a lot. Now, is this something you're considering?
Yeah, maybe 3-0. I know we're gonna keep talking about 3-0 here in a minute, but I only have one 3-0 figure, and I would love to get more, but it's pricey. It's pricey. I mean, it's not as pricey as like Hot Toys and stuff is, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it's basically the price thing and also of course space, because like for the more expensive stuff, I don't want to just like put it somewhere. I kind of want to, give it a nice place to where it won't like fall over or something or whatever. Exactly. So, but no, this does look sweet though. I like this a lot.
I like that they're just doing it. Like, I just like that's the thing. Yeah. I don't even need to be there for it or need to be collecting them. I'm just happy that they're doing it because it's just more for the tokusatsu stuff and more,
right
for that fan base, because we're all kind of intertwined with these different franchises.
And Godzilla's like MMPR. He's never gonna not sell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I posted a horrible picture, even though Kat took me a beautiful picture. Sorry, Kat. Kat gave me a beautiful picture of this, and I'm sorry I should have posted it. But
this was our first look at it. So
and this was our first look at the Turbo Ranger figure, which we're getting, which is the Red Ranger. Of course, we can't. It's just the Red Turbo Ranger. But a lot of people started asking me immediately, "Does this mean we're getting the team?" And I kind of just said, like, maybe. Like,
I would say there's a very good chance.
I say there is too. I know when they started releasing Zeo, a lot of people were asking me like, "Do you think they're going to do like Jungle Fury?" And I was like, "I think they're going to do all Tommies." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was very surprised by this because when that was like almost or actually about a year ago at Japan World Heroes, they had a booth there, and that's where they showed off. That's where they revealed the Zeo Red before he went up for pre-order. And so I was looking at it in person, and it's so good. And then we were talking to the guy that was there, just kind of asking him about like what their licenses and stuff is for Power Rangers. And he was like, "Yeah, we have the rights to all the seasons. We can do anything that we want." And we kind of asked like, are you guys sort of going in order or sort of like, jumping around kind of thing? It looks like they're going in order based off of this, but I know
Zordon order for now.
At least Zordon order. I asked the guy, I was like personally like, not like saying that this is any sort of like indication of what they're doing next, but I'm like, what teams do you want to see personally? I just wanted to see if he like knew his stuff, right? And he mentioned he would love to do In Space, Dino Thunder, RPM, and I'm like, okay, good. This guy,
I would really like a Magna Defender.
The thing about this line is that it is so good looking. The Mighty Morphin Red that I have is a fantastic figure. I'm probably going to get at least a Zeo Red and then maybe Gold. I'm not going to get the whole team. But those are like two of my favorite suits. So I got to get those. But yeah, this is great. I mean, I always loved Turbo Red for both being a fifth Tommy suits, but I prefer it as TJ, so I'll pretend this is TJ. But
I mean, I think the Turbo season is like sneaky good aesthetically. Like, the suits look really good. The Zords look really good. I think I have more appreciation for them as an adult more than I did as a kid.
Yeah. I would say the same.
Tyler, what do you think?
I agree with everything you guys said. Turbo is obviously one of my more favorite seasons. Shout out Cat over there with Ninja Storm. That's the one that's here. But I like that. I was just thinking of, are you talking about doing the whole team? Like maybe they're kind of building up to doing like a Forever Red, where they're do something like that. Because I feel like that hit in the nostalgia in the right spot, and I think a lot of people would be able to buy or would be buying all of them basically.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see that happen. That would take some time.
Yeah,
assuming they could keep the license. I could see them trying. I can definitely see that.
I'm very interested on if they'd follow the same format as the Zeo one, where they'll do like the main 5 individually and as a box set. Yeah. But then I really wonder, like, would they do Phantom and Blue Centurion?
I think that would be a good idea. I mean,
because like Blue Centurion and Phantom wouldn't really fit their kind of like, cloth figure that they have got. So like, not that they wouldn't or couldn't do it, but I'm just kind of curious if they would.
I mean, we just saw them. I mean, they've done Boom Comics and stuff like that, kind of like solo figures, and we just had the Matt Cook one, which was surprising. But I could see them doing maybe even a 2-pack, because I mean those two are buddy.
Yeah, I mean it would make a lot of sense to do. I would love that. If they did a 2-pack of them,
that would be hard for me to pass.
Yeah,
actually, now that I think about it,
I would need that.
Yeah, it's something like that always reminds me of like when back in the heyday of San Diego, which it's great to see how popular it was this year coming off of the long COVID, was when like they used to release the Jim Lee figures where they would have like the sketch figures of like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman.
Right.
So I could see something like that where it's that collector style, the 2-pack of obviously mass produce the team, but the auxiliary rangers.
And maybe still include the option to get them separately like they did for the main team boxes, because I think that's a very key thing in them succeeding with that line, is that you have the option to just get your favorites, or you can just do it all at once.
Well, especially with the price point,
right? Exactly, with the price, right?
So I've been really, really critical of Super 7 on my channel.
That's fair. It's fair.
I love these though. I want these. I want them, all of them.
Really?
This is my childhood. I bought new sets as an adult because I had, honestly, as a kid, we were okay, but there was no way I was there getting a full team of anything.
Yeah.
But I bought the full team as an adult. I love metallic Rangers. This brings back everything to me. They even did the red belt, which people hate, and they did the chest emblem, which people hate, but I freaking love it. And the Green Ranger has the derpy Godzilla on it. I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you guys are thinking about this? Pick up or pass for you guys?
So, it's tricky. Well, because first of all, I've worked with Super 7 in the past, so they might send me these. I don't know. So we shall see. I've been talking to my contacts.
They are very great figures.
Yeah, they are. Good.
Everything you say has to be positive. They're watching.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, I love them. I can't wait to review them. but no, I think I am a sucker for metallic stuff. I mean, it's shiny. How can I not like it? Simple as that is. But at the same time, I also do appreciate that they're 35 instead of 55. That Ultimates usually are. I love toy references. So, like you said, I love the derpy Godzilla in green.
Yeah.
Love that kind of stuff. And so I'm a sucker for Mighty Morphin Red, any kind of release of that. So if I don't get something, I'll probably pick up Red at least.
Yeah.
And green kind of gets me because that never existed before in a metallic version. I don't think. So
they made that weird. So they did an 8-inch figure as a prototype.
Right.
But it was just colored green.
Yeah.
And if for some reason it had a crane symbol in the middle, so that's the closest we got to. It was just so I think they were going to do it for the gold packs, the gold 2 packs.
Oh, I see.
And they just experimented, but they only made prototypes. I think there's only like 5 or 6, and collectors have them. But
I have not heard of that before. Interesting.
I have to think about the collector. I follow him. Yeah. But the derpy Godzilla though is for me. Like this, if I get one figure, it's going to be the Green Ranger. I mean, I don't even, it's behind me somewhere, but like
it's so tricky because it's like I have so many iterations of the Mighty Morphin team.
I agree,
and it's like, how many more do I really need? For seriously,
I get it. I mean, I don't even want to think because this is the stuff that's out. So like, you know what I mean? Like, oh,
right.
All right, guys, we're gonna run through the news. I want to talk about Deadpool. So, real quick. So Kat actually went to the Boom Studios panel for us at San Diego Comic-Con, and she went and represented as a Legacy Nerd. And we got to talk to Bryce Carlson. If you're watching, Mr. Bryce, I'm sorry for misspelling your name on the first one. I put Brian because of spell check. My bad. But he gave us that exclusive that night. I'm really surprised it was really nice of him. But basically he confirmed with us and that we could print it was that Boom would be keeping Power Rangers beyond 2024. What he basically told us was like it wasn't going anywhere. What they were doing with it, we didn't find anything out until the next day. But they're basically, I think we're starting over, or we don't really know.
It seems like it. It's very confusing, and I wish that they were more transparent with it. But
it's a weird thing, but really cool. Kat was talking to them, and she said, she went up like, "Hey, I'm Kat with the Legacy Nerd," and Bryce goes, "Oh, I know the Legacy Nerd." So that's a win. That was a really cool little moment for us, and we took it. And I think next day, Bleeding Cool released the Prime comic book cover, which we just really don't. It was hard to gauge what was going on there.
Yeah, and it still wasn't officially announced. It had leaked from like some kind of lunch meeting the day before or something. It was weird.
I actually talked to David Yost this weekend. I went to Corpus Christi Comic Con like for a couple hours. Went up there, talked to him, was asking him about the comic, and he basically told us he was gonna have an 8-page story. I wasn't sure, so he said I could put out this info, but I didn't want to put out specific info because he didn't really say if that specific info was okay. But he had told me like it was gonna be about Billy in his mid-20s, and then I posted this and he clarified on Twitter that he was actually going to be 28. Which is, I kind of stretched the info already because all he said was I could put out, it was an 8-page story. And then like he went beyond that. So all the Rangers we're seeing are going to get 8-page stories and across the grid, I guess it's called Across the Grid or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. But we're going to get ones from different Rangers. It's going to be a one-shot for now. I can really see this turning into something more. I would
love for this to be a series of just like
anthology
anybody series. Any actors that can get back that are interested in just each issues, a bunch of different random ones. That'd be so cool.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I want that so bad.
Also, again, David Yost, I was talking to him and he goes, "Hey, who are you with?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm the Legacy of Nerd." And he's like, "Oh, I know you are." So another cool moment. Awesome. And then he was like, and then I was kind of wondering, like, is that a bad thing? And then he was like, and then he was like, yeah, quote me, put it out, tag me. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, not a bad thing, cool. So
I want to meet David someday. He seems like such a chill guy.
He's really nice. He was really cool. It was a really cool moment, professionally as well.
Absolutely.
So we actually went there because my wife allowed it because Joey Fatone was going to be there. And Joey Fatone did a panel where he talked about Deadpool and Wolverine. One thing that we got from this panel was we kind of got hinted from Blake Lively, but we didn't know this until like Joey Fatone said it, was that she's the only reason that NSYNC was even featured in Deadpool and Wolverine, was because she told Ryan that NSYNC needed to be in it in some way or form. And so that's how we got NSYNC in Deadpool. I talked to Joey a little bit after. He just wanted to talk about this movie. Like anybody that come up that saw the movie, that he was just talking to them. So we talked about it. We talked to him for like a couple of minutes. He was more excited about Blade. But full spoilers, guys. So this is going to be full spoilers. You want to be here? Sorry, I already said one thing, but I said it was in the title, just to be fair. So all right, guys. So this leads us into the beginning of Deadpool. I'm just going to kind of leave it here so we can just I might just turn this off so we can.
All right, I'm ready. I've got it.
Yes.
Speaking about NSYNC, did you see that they changed the title of Bye 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 on YouTube?
I put that out, and I was
so confused because I saw it on Spotify, and I was like, "That's different."
Well, I saw it on when I was posting something about it this weekend. They changed it on Instagram. So on Instagram, when you try to go put "Bye Bye Bye" on there, like on an image, it says "Bye Bye Bye" NSYNC from the movie Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
I was like, I thought I was like, okay, maybe somebody put that up, right? Like, a user. Now I'm realizing it was the freaking record company that probably put it up. But Deadpool Wolverine, and we'll start with the NSYNC, just the beginning, and then we'll go off into reviews. But what did y'all think about the beginning? I love the beginning. What did y'all
Me too. I've been watching it like over and over again on all the like TikTok like videos of people in the theater like screen recording it. Like I had, I would say, reasonably high expectations, and I was just very excited for the film going into it. So, but there's also there was that slight bit of doubt, like, oh, are they really going to pull this one off? Like, it looks like it's going to be cool, but I hope it's not bad. And then when the music started and the fight started, I was like, oh, okay, we're good. This is going to be great.
They had such big shoes to fill with doing the 9 to 5 and Deadpool 2.
Like,
the beginning montage with Dolly Parton. So,
right, for sure.
Like, obviously, I mean, they've went far and above and beyond with this one. So, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I was smiling like ear to ear the whole time during that fight scene, music video. So, yeah, it was such a good time.
Yeah, we went and watched it Thursday night because we went on vacation to the coast on Friday. We went to Corpus on Friday, and so I was telling Debbie, I was like, I am so like embedded in everything, like pulling content from all the places. I have to see this movie as like early as possible.
Right.
Like I know I'm going to be spoiled on some things, but like I need to see this early. And so we saw it Thursday night. I managed to like just not see anything big. Right. The only thing I saw was about the Blake Lively thing. That was the only, and I was okay with that. Like I was fine with it. But so we get in the theater, we're sitting down, and she goes, and I knew like NSYNC might have a song or something like that in there. She's like, NSYNC is going to be in the first 5 minutes of the movie. What am I going to do after that? And I was like looking at her, and I was like, you just did that. Like you just really did that. And I was like, all right, whatever. But even though no one was coming, like I just enjoyed it so much. I mean, that is, I know we were talking about backstage about ages, but like that was my 6th grade. Like, you know what I mean? So bye. We all knew the song and the dance and everything. And it just hit right. Like, and especially the scene with him, like just like desecrating the R. Logans.
Yes.
Like just in the worst possible way.
It was one of those perfect times when like, you know, like when you're watching a movie and you notice a scene from the trailer and you're like, that's the context of that scene from the trailer. Right. And we saw some of the, you know, snowy forest fight in the trailers, but now knowing like what he was fighting with and everything makes it like so much better.
Because some people thought that was the woods from the second Avengers.
It looked like it. It looked like it.
That's what I thought too. And I was like, are they gonna have some reference to language, or is it going to be like Hydra or something like that?
Right.
But no, I mean, there have been a lot of like rumors about like a Wolverine Deadpool mashup, but him like just snick taking his claws out and everything, like that was perfect. So cool. And then just like the, you know, has one in the okay, we're still monetized, so one in the butthole and one in the crotch, and just going back and forth on that, like that was just ridiculous. But
Wolverining is hard.
Yeah, when he like stabbed himself through the arm with the like.
Oh yeah, he did do that. He's like, oh. So we'll start with doing reviews, and then we'll just kind of talk about the movie a little bit. Tyler, we'll start with you. Let's do your review. What did you think about Deadpool and Wolverine?
It was first I want to start off by saying I've seen a lot of people like hating on the movie, or like IGN gave it a 7, and they talked about how and I think someone even in your comment was like, oh, the story was crap. It's like, it's a Deadpool movie. It's not gonna have an Oscar-winning script.
Right.
So going into it, expecting it, I mean, it was a 10 out of 10 for me. I think it was a phenomenal way to say goodbye to Fox, and to kind of open the door to a lot of, you know, fresh potential with the MCU. I think it was a kickstart it needed. I loved every bit of that movie from start to finish. Definitely my favorite, like one of my top Marvel movies. Definitely the strongest to me, the strongest of the 3 Deadpools, because it was just Deadpool being Deadpool at his best. So I loved it.
And Josh,
yeah. I mean, you summed up like pretty much all of my thoughts on it. Like, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I went with a good big group of people. My whole family went, and my girlfriend went, and she had never seen the first 2 Deadpools. She just was like, well, you know, I'll go with you to this. But no, she loved it. I mean, she was like laughing at all the music, all the different, you know, like record drops there, and like she at the end she was like, I think I might be a Deadpool fan now, and she's been like sending me TikTok edits and stuff, and so it's just been so much fun to just see all the memes and the edits and rewatch the scenes that people are posting on TikTok. And it feels for the first time since No Way Home, it feels like, yeah, I'm really hyped about a Marvel movie I just watched again. And it's so awesome to feel this way. I feel like, because I was kind of ranking it on my Letterboxd and stuff the other day, I feel like as a Deadpool film, I might lean a little bit more towards liking the second one the best of the trilogy. But I think they're all very close in quality, being really good. I just think there's certain parts and characters of Deadpool 2 that I like more. But no, this was fantastic. It was like everything that I wanted it to be, and maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a little bit more for me. The expectations of this were insane. Like, if we were gonna rate this in Power Ranger, it's like how we thought everyone was gonna be in Once and Always. Like, it was just
right.
But we didn't get everyone in Deadpool, but even then, what we got was just like, it was perfect as far as what we did get. You know, the only thing for me was just the little what do you call it, prologue? You know, the little intro was a little bit too long for me. Like, because we had that amazing fight scene. We were hyped up from NSYNC,
right? Like the whole scene with him and Happy and stuff like that. Maybe I thought it kind of went on a little long.
That was weird. Yeah, that was a little weird, a little long. I got it. I understood it, and we were
right. And I liked it, and it was like I didn't expect that scene, but I kind of felt like we're kind of taking our time here.
Exactly. And it wasn't really clear, like, okay, so you can travel, because in the Deadpool 2, like we were time traveling, right? But I guess,
Right.
We kind of like he went and killed Green Lantern and stuff like that.
Yeah. We don't really know the whole, I guess, capabilities of Cable's device.
Exactly. So I mean, we were kind of assuming that he could travel universes now, but
Mhm.
Other than that, like just the little beginning. But I understood it was because we had to get like where Deadpool was. I think that's what they're trying to get us emotionally.
Yeah,
like he was like
reintroduce us to the character, and
no, yeah, he was bored. Like he he did not like his life at that point. You know what I mean? But as far as everything, like the cameos that I mean, it's funny because someone had said to me, I think someone said in one of my comments, like they're not necessarily cameos because a lot of them were actually end up being supporting cast.
That is true. It's just that's sort of the easier blanket term.
There may have been like one actual cameo, which we'll talk about.
I would say that there was one actual cameo, but yeah,
exactly. But other than that, I really enjoyed the movie. My wife said she had not seen me cheer or laugh like that, or like in a long time in the movie. I don't even think I did that for like Endgame or Infinity War or really anything like that.
Well, I think it also depends on like the energy of your screening.
Yeah, of your theater. Very just screening.
Well, honestly, nobody was doing anything in my screening. Like, so it was just me. Yeah. And so I mean, there was a couple of claps and stuff like that, like oohs and ahs, but like I was like, yeah, like I was like, and I was in it, and I was like, I didn't give a fuck what it was going on.
Yeah.
And I did it at Northwest, Tyler, so it was like a smaller theater.
Oh, so I used to work at that one. I know that one.
I like that theater, but every theater, every seat's recliner, so I like that one.
Recliner. You gotta have a recliner.
But it wasn't really like the screening, it was mostly me. Maybe I'm the one that kind of hyped it up a little bit, so maybe that's a good thing. We just got a super chat. Matt Fisher, hello, just found your channel to Toku Topics, initiate high five. Thank you so much, appreciate you.
High five back.
So let's talk okay, let's say like, okay, you got to the TVA. Okay, what did y'all think about that? Why is Thor crying? Why is
yeah, so like I was reading that was repurposed footage from Dark World when he's holding Loki, and I wonder if that scene is actually gonna play off or play off somewhere. But also, I forget, it was one of the interviews that Ryan and Hugh have been doing for the last month. When they were talking about like initial ideas for the movie, they said one of their initial ideas was going to be up until the first act break, the whole movie was going to be a shot-for-shot remake of The Dark World. And so I wonder if that's a remnant from that original vision of the movie, or if that is like something they actually are going to try to pay off later.
I mean, what do you think, Tyler?
I think they have to. It's one of those things where it might have been at the time like a goofy gag, but the positive reception to it, and I think it's going to gain some legs. A lot of people are going to reference it, especially once it comes on digital. I see that's going to be, it's something that like the most like retweeted or cut into TikToks and whatnot. So
people are going to want it in secret words.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be kind of like how we originally got Deadpool, where like the test footage, leaked, and then it just became this now trilogy.
They're test running it.
Exactly. Yeah, they're dipping toes in the water to see what they can do and what audience wants. And
I mean, they put it out there, so now it's like it's almost like right. Like, so I don't know if you guys have seen. Well, what do you think of Deadpool's now Marvel Jesus, but have you guys seen some of the overreactions from some of the people talking about like he is not Jesus, guys?
Oh my god!
Like, and they're being like deadpan serious.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh jeez.
I mean, like,
I think thankfully I have cultivated my social media feeds to filter all that out, so I don't think I've seen any of that.
I think honestly, it came with all of the stuff going on with the Olympics opening ceremony too. It was just kind of like the icing on the cake, man. It was like they're escaping the Olympics and seeing this movie, and then of course in the first 20 minutes he's over here talking about him being Jesus, and it's like we can't get away from this kind of this
and
blasphemy.
We're showing a cameo of Wolverine on a cross and all
that. Right. Yeah.
Speaking of those, we got AOA Wolverine.
Yeah.
In a movie, like I know it was only a couple of seconds, but like of those, what did you guys like about those ones? Because I mean, that was big for me. Like,
I got two. Man.
I was dying with some of them. Yeah, I was dying with some of them. The brown suit versus Hulk, fantastic. Yeah. But like, oh my god, when comic accurate Wolverine showed up in the bar and died, it looked
Wolverine.
It looked so uncanny. I loved it.
Yeah, comic accurate was mine, and then the Calverine.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize him at first. Did you guys recognize him at first?
Oh, I immediately, man.
I did not. I was like, oh.
I remember hearing the rumor of it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of thinking like, oh, is it going to be him? And I'm like, oh shit, it is.
So I heard he was going to be Patches. So when they turned Patches, and I see Hugh Jackman as Patches, I was like, oh, okay. I guess it's not Cavill, right? And
I heard Daniel Radcliffe was supposed to be Patch.
That would have been cool too. I mean, they should have brought him in as comic accurate Wolverine, if anything.
Yeah,
ooh, that would have been good. That would have been good.
We're all gonna find out later. It's his body CGI. But I don't know. AOA for me with the missing hand and him just like the red streaks and everything like that. Like that's elementary school for me. Like that was the big thing that was going on in comics when I was a kid. That was so cool. I don't know about you guys, but like, did the brown suit seem a little bit better than the suit that we had?
It was pretty good. I feel like my bias towards the just traditional suit is gonna make me like the one more, but I mean, I know a lot of people, they swear by the brown suit being like their definitive Wolverine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did look really good.
I mean, I was kind of impressed with the brown suit. I was like, they just did that for that couple of seconds.
Right. Yeah. I've got a lot of love for the brown suit, especially with like X-Men Evolution was obviously like the main the TV show I grew up with. You know, I was right around that age, so I know it was more of like that burnt orange style in that. But you know, to me, I associated Wolverine more with those colors versus the regular or the bright yellow and. But I think they did a phenomenal job with the suit in this the main suit he wore. I've always said this in plenty of conversations where it's like you can't fully take a character's costume outside of maybe Spider-Man and put it on the screen. It has to fit the world. It has to fit the times. So
right.
But
they did phenomenal. I think they knocked it out of the park with the regular suit. But yeah, the brown suit was a little bit above it to me.
I show my age because you're like X-Men Evolution, and I think most people are like animated X-Men, which obviously I did grow up on, right?
Yeah.
So I was introduced with Pride of X-Men with the Stan Lee, narrated direct VHS pilot. Yeah. So that was like the Canadian, not the Canadian, the Australian Wolverine. That was my first.
What are you talking about? He's already Australian. He's Hugh Jackman.
Yes, but I'm pretty sure in Pride of X-Men, Wolverine goes crikey. So,
nice. Wow.
I mean, that's as far it might be just what I remember, but I remember thinking like that he sounds weird. But
any kind of animated Wolverine, I never really had a X-Men series that I watched growing up. The one that would have fit like my time frame would have been Wolverine and the X-Men,
which was really good.
I've heard great things, but honestly, my Wolverine and X-Men exposure was the Fox movies. So that makes a lot of things in this movie hit harder for me. That I was like, oh, this is what I grew up with knowing the X-Men. Even though I know it's definitely not like the definitive or most accurate version of those characters by any means. But
it's funny though, because I think no matter what iteration of Wolverine or Logan there's been, the spirit has always been there, and it's never been wrong. I don't think I can think of a wrong Wolverine. Even my Pride of X-Men Australian crikey Wolverine acted like Wolverine was supposed to act.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think we've ever really gotten a bad one. And as far as that I can think of, I mean, and I'm really thinking, and I can't think of it. Even X-Men Evolution was really good. It was a little bit older when that came out, but I didn't watch every episode of that. But that one was really good. We got, he's always been a gruff kind of brooding character, and it's easy to do. You know what I mean? Being realistic, it's easy to do. The thing that came out of probably your generation, Josh, that was more of an adult for me was James Howlett, Old Man Logan, those iterations of Logans that were sort of reinvented, to make it more interesting.
Oh, for sure.
As of lately, I don't know if you guys have heard it. I mean, I've been hearing rumors that they're really thinking about doing a Wolverine versus Hulk now, which I need.
I mean, I feel like I don't know if they would make it its own project, but I definitely do see it happening in one of the Avengers movies.
I'd be happy to just see a short film, like those shorts they used to do.
Oh yeah, see, yeah,
the shorts that went nowhere.
Yeah.
That is.
But they were pretty good. Like
they
were.
Actually, yeah. No, I'm really on board with that idea. Just put it out as like a Disney Plus exclusive little short or something.
Exactly. Or like they just did Werewolf by Night. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say Werewolf by Night. So I mean, they have Disney Plus, and
it's one of those feature presentations or something like that.
Yeah.
I was really invested in the comics, so
yeah.
I agree with you. We've never had a bad Wolverine adaptation. Hugh Jackman has obviously been like the go-to, and I think he's played it different yet similar in every single time he's played it. So it's definitely like he's already kind of like given more depth to the character. He's already done depth too. So
yeah. I think he grew up with the character in a weird way. I mean, he was already a man when he started, right? But like, you know, he's been doing it for 24 years. This came out in the year 2000, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, again, that's 6th grade. I don't know. 6th grade was just amazing for me, I guess. But like,
that was what I was -1 in 2000.
-1. you were an idea, Josh. You were just
right.
But like, I don't know. It's just Hugh Jackman. It's really hard. And I think one thing I was glad to hear was that there was no immediate plans to like recast Wolverine, because that obviously like just like Paul Rudd, like he has Paul Rudd disease too, like, you know what I mean, he doesn't age.
I feel like I think it was Mr. Sunday Movies' podcast reviewer, because I've been watching tons of videos and stuff now that I've seen it, and he summed it up perfectly, where he was like, obviously we're getting pretty close to like when the baton is really going to be passed from Hugh Jackman, but because of the multiverse, you're gonna have Hugh Jackman be able to pass that torch, and and I'm sure they're gonna bring him back to do it, and I think that's the way to do it. I feel like it would be less jarring to have a full-on recast without it having that sort of like I trust this guy moment, and pass it on. So I definitely feel like we'll at least see one more appearance of him, so we can do that.
I think we'll definitely get Secret Wars. Because he had said for a long time, like, I'd only come back if Marvel got back, the X-Men, and then it happened, and then like basically the second it happened, he's like, I'm doing a Deadpool movie.
And also this movie did not feel like a send-off to Hugh Jackman at all.
No.
So,
and it's also not the Wolverine. They were clear to say like, this is not our
right.
Like, so this is like, and I think it's kind of confusing after Days of Future Past and stuff like that. What is our Wolverine anymore? But this was not like our original timeline, so he can essentially play a new Wolverine.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically starting a new character here. So,
you think Cavill will be back? Like, you think he'll be back in Marvel, or do you think he's the?
I feel like that's a one and done. That gives me very John Krasinski as Reed Richards vibes.
I don't think so. With what I'm joking half by saying this, but the Snyder boy in me says that the only other person to now have played Wolverine is Henry Cavill. So, but I also, but I also think that just seeing like how he's fully throws himself into roles, whether this be The Witcher or the Highlander thing he's doing, or even Warhammer, I think they're going to use him in something. I don't think that it'll like be Wolverine.
I mean, Henry Cavill definitely just has like, he will be a good fit for the MCU. I just don't know who.
I thought it was going to be Doom. Like, I really thought like he was going to be Doom, just for him to do something different.
Honestly, we have 1,000 Doom fan casts around the internet, and obviously we had the big news this weekend. But like, I don't even know. I don't even know who I would want as Doom, to be honest. Like, I don't even know if I have an actor in mind.
My top pick is the actor.
By the way, Marty, real quick, Marty, that's Apocalypse. Yeah.
My top actor for Doom is I'm gonna butcher his name, but the guy that played Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
Oh my God, Nikolai
something.
That would be interesting.
Because have you ever seen the movie he did when he was in he was like the prison dude? I think it was called A Shot Caller or something, where he was a straight up like just bad dude kind of thing. And I mean, he played a good villain. He played a really good conflicted person, obviously with the Game of Thrones. So he was my top. He was my top one. Or even
a lot of people wanted Mads Mikkelsen.
To do it. I've heard that a lot.
They want Mads Mikkelsen for everything, man.
Well, that is true. It does. Yeah. People wanted like Mads Mikkelsen, Cillian Murphy. I heard a bunch of random.
Cillian Murphy was my number one for Carnage. Before we got Woody Harrelson.
That's actually a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but that
play a good Cletus Cassidy for sure.
Yeah. But
I thought I thought Woody Harrelson was a good choice to begin with. It just went weird, and I think we talked about this, Tyler. Those Venom movies, like they look pretty, but they're just not good movies. Like
they're popcorn movies, man. They're popcorn movies.
I will say though, they do produce pretty freaking awesome Marvel Legends figures.
Yeah, I did see that.
Hey, look at you just pulling out the toy. We're talking about something like, hey, by the way,
he's gonna keep doing that throughout the night.
Yeah, I just have Venom and Guardians here. So.
All my stuff is across the room above my TV, so I can't like run away and grab something to come back.
And I'm not even in my bedroom. I'm in the basement. I just happen to have some random stuff next to my desk.
Although, actually, I'm gonna go grab something because it is Deadpool pertaining to this spoiler. So hang on.
Okay. We'll start on this conversation because we're gonna get to the biggest cameo that nobody seems to be talking about out of respect to the thing. But now, if really, guys, you really don't want to know, like nobody has talked about this cameo because I feel like they've just been glossing it over. But what did you think of that scene, Johnny Storm? Come back.
I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
It was something like people have like I've seen the exact scene that happened written out in tweets for years of like, oh, it'd be cool if this happened, and they did like basically the exact thing. And like the second, because I didn't know, I didn't even have anybody in mind of like who that cloaked figure was going to be. And then when it was Chris Evans, I immediately knew. I was like, he's not here as Cap. He's John. I'm like, it's gonna be too easy for him to be Cap, and I'm like, yes. And Fantastic Four 2, so Rise of the Silver Surfer, was the first Marvel movie I saw in theaters 17 years ago. And so never in my life did I think I'd see Chris Evans, Johnny Storm back on the big screens after so long. So I was so here for it, and I was mainly surprised. I was surprised less that he was in the movie. I was surprised more of how long he was in the movie.
Me too. Yeah. I was surprised about that as well. Tyler?
I really thought it'd be like a minute, and that's it.
First off, I saw somebody posted, and I would think it was just a throwaway like tweet, but the fact that there were so many leaks from the set of that set,
no, for sure.
Like what they leaked Sabretooth, they leaked the ice cream truck from
the Fox
Moon Knight,
logo in
the Fox logo, Red Skull's car. The fact that was not leaked was just amazing.
You're so right.
Yeah, that the one like the biggest name drop of characters was they were dancing around it but never seen. I also like the way that they showed. I forget the comic what it was. I think it was one of the newer iterations of Cap, but they had the shield from whenever he did the Hail Hydra.
That was a Hail Hydra one.
Yeah,
I think, and they had the old Thor cap too as well.
And then when he put his hand out, he had red on there, so it was like you hear the voice, and then it had like a red around like a gauntlet. So you're like, oh, it's Cap. But
right.
Then when he flamed, it wasn't until he said a flame on, but I knew it was Johnny Storm. Like I knew it wasn't going to be Cap.
Well, and also because what did he do? Because I forget the exact line he said, but when he was standing in front of him, he said ass or something. He cursed in some way.
No, he said, y'all need to get your dicks out of your mouths. And
he said, okay.
Deadpool was like,
yeah.
And then
he said something that was like, that's not Cap.
Yeah. I didn't know. First of all, I didn't think they'd get Chris Evans for this because he's been like kind of MIA very much.
Yeah, right.
And when they showed the cloaked figure, they did the Cap thing real quick, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, is this like a variant because like this guy's young, you know what I mean? So, and then he came down and then he did the the dicks in the mouse comment and I saw Deadpool react and then he was like, okay, and then he goes flame on. I thought he was dead after that scene.
So badly.
I was like, okay, that's all we're getting.
That's exactly what I expected a cameo from him to be about that long.
Exactly.
And then I was like, oh wow, he's dead right there. And I'm like, oh, somehow he's not.
Right. And then the whole car ride over there. And we'll talk about the end screen because the end credit doesn't really have anything to do with anything coming up. But basically saying like he was talking all that crap about Cassandra and just having Chris Evans go off. And for some reason he got real Brooklyn for a second.
No, it was Boston. No, that's Boston, dude. That's full that's full masshole, man.
I was like, why is he doing that?
That's how my family talks. If you ever watched so it's the movie, the Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy, The Heat. It's the one where they team up. It takes place in Boston. They go to her house and it's got Bill Burr and a couple of like famous Boston comedians. That's exactly what like a Sunday dinner in Boston sounds like is exactly how Chris Evans was talking at the end of that.
And then they just like kill him. and
right.
And then you hear Deadpool goes, "You know how much he was cutting into this budget or something like that." Like I was just like, "Oh, well, that's probably true." Like, I mean,
yeah.
But it was just so like, ooh, like I think everyone in the theater kind of like,
Yeah.
like,
It was so quick, and I was like, well, yeah,
it was so graphic.
It was very
so
graphic.
graphic.
Flopped over like what was left of them.
Pile of meat. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I was a little disappointed, like as far as like the mutants that were inside the base, like
yeah, it was like I'm actually seeing it again this Saturday, so I'll have to take like a closer look this time. But like, I know some of those were recasts,
right?
From
they all were recast except
were
for
they
Pyro.
all recast?
Yeah.
Okay. It
wasn't.
Sometimes it was hard to notice, or because they were so far in the background, or they didn't really do anything.
Because it wasn't Vinnie Jones, he was Juggernaut. I think I actually saw an interview with him that said he wanted like the OG suit, and they wouldn't do that. I don't know if it was just
they wanted to do the Last Stand one. Yeah.
And because then it was Lady Deathstrike, but it wasn't
Kelly Hu.
Kelly, it wasn't Kelly Hu. It was a couple of other mutants from the Brotherhood camp from the Last Stand. Yeah. But they're all recast.
Listen, what's his name, Azazel or whatever from First Class.
Yeah, I think that was the actor. It looks like
that was him actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the only two that or three they had Pyro.
Well, they had Toad.
Yeah, Toad was that was not Ray Park.
I thought it was.
From like a side thing, I think it looks like Ray Park, but I don't think they would. I think if it was Ray Park, they would have focused more on the face.
Yeah, I don't think it was Ray Park, but we can go back and check. But I remember seeing like they were showing the stunt guy, and I was like, that's not Ray Park, and I was like, Ray Park still does his own stunts, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Mane, obviously.
Yeah.
Which I knew once they released that. Or I don't even think it was a trailer. It was just a clip that they released.
Yeah.
I was like, that's going to be a 2-second fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is. I was like, and actually, what I had said was, what's going to happen is like, you're just going to see them run at each other. It's going to cut to black, and it's going to be like Wolverine 1. And that's why I'm actually surprised they actually showed him. Like,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So I was like, okay, we got more than I thought we were going to get. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
But that that was really cool. We got a little bit of the old Sentinel. I think that was one from Days of Future Past Sentinel.
Yeah, the leg
as well.
Yeah.
So they never really went all Sentinel in the first 3 movies.
They just had them like the shadow.
The head.
The training room or whatever.
Yeah, and they haven't really done the Sentinels justice in any of the movies yet, except for like the ones that were actually the future.
It's like I'm wearing my shirt, Sentinel, Night of the Sentinel.
Oh no, Morph. So I mean, that kind of leads us into the next set of cameos, which was like, we see X-23 show up, which we knew she was going to show up as well. Again, but I was surprised how much we saw of her because I was like, oh, they leaked her or they put her in the trailer. I was like, she's only going to be in it for a second.
It was so weird that they did that. I know Kevin Feige came out and said that it was because she wanted to go to the premiere and...
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah. There was a whole interview that was like she wanted to go to the premiere and they hadn't revealed her yet, so... they decided to reveal it a couple of days before, and I'm like, I see the logic behind that, but like, you could have still not revealed her, and she still could have gone to the premiere. There was people at the premiere that weren't in the movie.
Yeah,
and like, you could like, of course, if you see her there, you're gonna.
It wouldn't make sense for her to be there anyways, right?
Well, you could could just say that she's there to support Hugh Jackman because like, working on Logan and stuff like that. Like, I would have assumed that she was there if I saw her at the premiere, but it didn't mean that she like would have had to be in the movie.
Right.
So I wish they just didn't put her in the trailer, especially because when they did like the reveal of all the cameos or I guess supporting cast, she was the last to come out as like the big reveal. And I'm like, well, I know it's her because I haven't, we haven't seen her yet. I know she's in the movie.
And you could tell too, like the pause after her character was revealed was longer than everybody else's because it was supposed to garner the most applause or reaction from the But so and then again,
strange.
Yeah.
Also, I'm legit shocked, but happy Josh likes more than PR the dealer.
I do, yeah. That's what my second channel is for, is where I talk about stuff like this. So.
I was like, I've seen you talk about Legends before. I was like, I honestly forgot that RR wasn't. I kind of did too, honestly.
Yeah. How can you say Hannibal King, bro?
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't come. It's funny because I was working at the theaters at that time when. That by the way, that's why I'm kind of like a movie junkie is because I got to see so many movies for free all the time. So and a lot of people make fun of me for this, but like Brokeback Mountain is a good movie. Like, you know,
Brokeback Mountain is a phenomenal movie.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Like all these movies that people that I got make fun of a lot in college because I enjoyed them. But yeah, that's why I know a lot about movies. But I remember in the theaters, like that was the first time Blade for Trinity was marketed as a Marvel movie, because Blade was not marketed like it was like, yes, but you know, created a Marvel character, right? But they never said like, oh, this is like a comic book movie. That was like, no, this is a vampire movie. That's what we got when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that makes sense.
So when we see Blade show up, I'm like, whoa. And I don't know why I just never thought that would happen. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I know there was also that very long rumor about Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds like hating each other or whatever.
I didn't even know about that either. So I was, you know, I don't know if I'm just oblivious to something sometimes, but and maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. But you know, I just never, honestly, because we hear like so many kind of horror stories about Wesley Snipes also. Right. Like I didn't think like he would just like, I think he'd be like, no, I'm good. Like
I think I was also surprised because, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the Blade trilogy was New Line Cinema.
Yeah. New Line.
Yeah. So those weren't Fox films. So I was surprised that since all the cameras were Fox focused, that he was included in there. I mean, I liked that he was, because it still fit that like era, that time frame and era of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
For him to be there. Because the only other Marvel movies from that era that like were not represented was like Spider-Man, obviously, but that was never going to happen. So we've already done that. So, but like, yeah, I was surprised that Blade was included and kind of basically treated like one of the Fox characters almost in terms of like remembering them. So
I think it was more of just there wouldn't be the universe as it is without Blade.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think it. But I had all of the cameos spoiled by Wesley Snipes.
Oh no!
Because I didn't see the movie until Saturday, and I guess on Friday and whatever when they did the panel,
and
like he posted and I follow him on Instagram, and he posted the video of like them bringing everything out, and I was like, well, shit. I mean, it made me more excited. But it was still, it was like, if anyone's going to spoil it, I was like, I guess, you know, you can't get mad at Wesley Snipes for spoiling
it.
And besides, you know, he's wanted to talk about this for like months, probably.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I don't think he really like gets the whole like
spoiler culture.
Yeah, like it doesn't, he doesn't like, it doesn't come up to me. And honestly, like I know a lot of people are, you know, mad at me also for spoiling some things, but I waited 5 days. I waited for 3 major news networks to spoil the movie. And then I waited for the cast members to spoil the movie. Then I put out some images and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like probably starting like, because like my old roommate didn't get to see it till today, so I was purposely like not posting any spoilers like today, but like probably like starting like tomorrow or definitely by the weekend. I'm not going to hold back anymore on social.
Honestly, after Entertainment Weekly did it, I was like, you know what?
That's fair. That's
I'm
fair.
gonna get 2 more days after Entertainment Weekly, and then I'm going.
That makes. I think
and I know some people are upset with me about it, but a lot more people want to talk about it, and that's
right. Yeah, we're just excited. Yeah,
exactly. So,
but like to your point, like I think Wesley Snipes was like slowly mentioning or like leaving little like hints that he was in the movie, because if you look at his social media for the last like couple of months, he's been like politely talking crap about Marvel and all of the issues they're having with the Blade movie, and like he's doing this whole like Daywalker thing, and it got me thinking. I was like, this guy is very vocal about like something he's nowhere near attached to ever, you know. Right. So I was like, there's got to be a reason why. So it made me think.
I saw just earlier today. I don't know what outlet it was, but I saw a clip of it on TikTok where he was talking about when Ryan gave him the call and everything. And he was talking about how he never thought it would like actually happen. He was confused because he was like, I thought Mahershala was doing Blade now. And, he was like, he was trying to figure out like what Ryan was asking him. And basically he was like, yeah, you know, Ryan calls me out of the blue. And he's like, do you want to do this? And he's like, yeah, I want to do this. And he's like, you get a phone call from Ryan Reynolds out of the blue after 20 years, you pick it up. So,
I mean, and I want to talk about this comment right here about the only one Blade. And I think this is what I've been getting a lot on my page, especially, is that with knowing all the problems that are going on with that movie, they've been trying to make forever. Why not? Why change it at this point? Well, he's back. People enjoyed it. Like, why not? Why not?
Yeah, like the only one Blade joke, like I was like cackling when that happened because I didn't know how many people like in my like friend group and family that went together like would understand that joke at all.
Right.
I know my dad did because I've talked to him about Blade's production, issues and stuff like that. But I'm sure like I know my sister didn't get it at all, and she was like, "Yeah, why was that so funny?" And I'm like, I'm like, I got it. I'm like, well, you see, 5 years ago, so
was it 5 years ago already?
Yeah. 2019 Comic-Con is when they announced Blade and Mahershala.
So it was before COVID?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, because after COVID, everything kind of started dropping. I think they had they announced Mahershala and then Mia Goth. I think after the whole her success, and then those are the only two that have like actually stayed attached to this film.
It got really close because when I was still at CSU in Cleveland, they were supposed to be filming some of it in Cleveland in December of 2022, and then in October of 2022 they're like, yeah, no, the director's like left, we're canceling that. And so it just has kept getting pushed and delayed and this and that. I don't even know if it's going to shoot anything in Cleveland anymore because I know they're like rewriting the script and stuff.
Yeah, I think last time I heard, I put out a news thing about it. I said like, "Oh, Blade just lost his 456th director," and like, you know what I mean, like, that's probably one of the most frustrating because we got like that. That was maybe the most interesting thing from Eternals. You know what I mean? It was like, "Ooh, Blade." You know
that's right. Yeah, he was.
And it just never panned out. Like it's kind of going.
A lot of things from Eternals never panned out. So.
Well, they're panning out in the next Captain America.
Yes, they are panning out
now. Elektra, I know she had a good moment, and I want to say like especially my wife because she's very much TMZ-ish. She loved the little comment like, "Oh, Daredevil's dead." Like, "Oh, that's okay."
I was really hoping maybe he'd show up a little bit, but like I know that. Well, she was confirmed basically.
Basically, I think we all kind of knew.
I think that was even reported on by like Deadline or something like a while ago that she was in it.
Maybe so. I thought she was a good compliment to the cast. I think
it was great.
What not like the super exciting Wesley Snipes, like, oh my god, I can't believe he's here, sort of.
Yeah,
but like
Wesley Snipes was my favorite of those.
And honestly, like Electro just was. I don't think I watched the entire movie. To be honest,
I think she gave. I forget the exact line, but she gave my favorite line. That any of the cameos did. I'm just gonna keep calling it cameos; it's easier. But the line she was talking about how they never had like all this group of people never had endings, and I was like, that's really. I'm like, this is like fun and like such a funny movie, and we're plucking from like the not as like movies or whatever, and I'm like, but I really respect that like this is these characters' only other chance that they're ever gonna get to like leave somewhere like for actually have a send-off, and I really liked that.
Yeah, it was really good. Now I cheered. I don't think anyone in my theater got it, but and Tyler,
nice.
All right, I didn't know, Tyler, what did you think when you saw that?
It was awesome, man. Like the suit was perfection.
It looked like you.
Damn, that's what Alicia looked at me. She goes, "God damn, you do look like Channing Tatum in that suit." And I was like, I don't want to be like that conceited, like, "Oh, thanks," like hell yeah. But I was like, yeah, I could see it in certain lights. The suit was great. They're little kind of not nitpicking it, but as a cosplayer, there you go. No, you got to look at the. I'll send it to you right now so you can pull it up. It's one that Rochelle and Jimmy tagged me in from Greater Austin a couple weekends ago. But no, I think it was great. I think that there was a couple pieces that I wished it would have. I'll send it to you on your messages.
Okay.
Oh wow, these are great.
Thank you.
Nice.
That's my wife is the 97 Rogue there. So
sweet.
But I gotta take this off screen for my messages real quick. Give me 1 second.
But
I thought about that for a second.
Yeah, right. That could have been bad.
It was awesome. And then as soon as he started talking, like it was the greatest thing ever.
I thought I was going crazy for a second. I'm like, I did not catch what he said at all.
It was amazing, and I love that they made fun of it. And again, people were like, I heard some people that were talking like, oh, like he was just his accent was too fake, and I was like, look, again, it's a Deadpool movie.
I'm like, yeah, this is the point. Yeah.
It's 100% the point that they're making fun of it. And then someone was like, oh, well, like, why would they pick someone like Channing Tatum? Yeah, see, like there, like that's the most recent one. And I have the contacts and everything.
Nice.
But it was
that's
one
a
of
good
those
shot with the Wolverine there as well.
Yeah, that's our friend. They're Ronin Reza cosplay.
Oh, they're gonna be more phenomenal too.
Yeah, they'll be more phenomenal. So they do they also do Scott and Jean. She does Phoenix, and she's got the wings.
I think I've seen that.
Nice.
Yeah. But I loved it, and I mean, it was great. It was something that I definitely didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Blade, I was kind of like, oh, this is cool. Like they have history together.
Right.
The fact that I think everything, and I think a lot of people were 100% just under that Gambit movie was dead in the water. That it would just nothing would ever happen.
And like I think one of the closest times they got was right when Disney bought Fox, and then Disney's like, nah, we're good, we're not doing that. So
they had set shooting dates like
they were really close to actually getting it to happen. But I saw, this was really cool to me, that
my name is Jeff.
Again, it's a Deadpool movie, man. So you're not expecting like an Oscar-worthy performance.
I think that it was. Really
and he goes off on his conception. The
entire I've been ready the day I came with my daddy balls.
So when you mentioned earlier, Tyler, about when they brought everybody out at Comic-Con on Friday night, and so when Channing Tatum came out, I guess people noticed that the shirt he was wearing was the same shirt that he wore 10 years ago when he was cast as the role and never got.
It's even faded.
It's such a good touch.
He's worn that shirt since then too.
He's been waiting.
It's kind of sad.
I saw this meme that was like, when a guy has that one good shirt, and he wears this like every function, and it was a bunch of pictures, like the nice cast picture of everybody from the Fox universe. It was him on stage, and then him with Ryan. So I was like, but.
That's funny because you go through my videos and you'll see one shirt that like appears like the most in all my videos.
I mean, I've worn this Flash shirt like thousands of times probably. So like,
I was like, I have like 4 of these shirts and I just gotta rotate through them. So
it was best Marvel movie made. Deadpool carrying him. Yeah, I mean,
it was certainly like because I always like to like rank the MCU films, and I let them sit for a couple of days before, because I don't want to. I mean, obviously there's gonna be that recency bias, but I also don't want to be like, I just got out of it and it was the best, and then like be like, eh. So at the end of the day, it goes back and
forth though.
It definitely does. Yeah,
the Marvels, which was like honestly, like I know that got hit like by the woke mob, whatever.
Right.
Like it wasn't a very good movie, and then but we had Guardians, which was
Guardians.
Everybody was solid. I remember everybody like, oh, Marvel's back after Guardians, and they're
it's like that meme that's every alternating show and movie. MCU's back, MCU's dead, MCU's back, and it's like okay.
And
I like the Marvels. I like it just because of Miss Marvel. Honestly,
I just love the cast and everything.
Yeah, her character's been so refreshing. Like the Miss Marvel TV show was probably one of my favorite ones.
It was very
it's just so great to see characters actually play more into like the comic book side of it.
Of course,
so that's what I liked. So I liked it. I don't mind Brie Larson as as Captain Marvel, but
I think it's like I still don't think the MCU has ever really had like a unwatchable movie, Like obviously there are like weaker ones for sure.
Yeah,
I mean Thor 2 was one of the weaker ones for
it was.
Yeah,
and, like there are MCU films that like I don't really ever feel in the mood to rewatch, but there's none that like if it was the only thing on I wouldn't turn it on.
It's not MCU, but I turned off Morbius halfway through, and I think that's probably
that's fair.
Yeah.
Wait, all right. Did y'all stay all the way through Inhumans?
I did watch all the Humans.
That happened. Yeah. That happened.
Yeah. I watched all of it.
It certainly was moving pictures that I watched with my eyes.
That was.
I went into Inhumans excited because I like Anson Mount, and then what's his face? Ewan Ramsey, the guy that played Ramsey Bolton. Yeah. So they had a good cast.
They did have a good cast, which is why I'm so glad that he came back as Black Bolt. Madness.
He's so short though. I didn't realize. I forgot he was so short. He could have been comic accurate Wolverine too.
Oh, that was funny.
So that kind of leads us into, I mean, just the rest of the end of the movie. Really, like we finally got Wolverine in his cowl, which I had to say, and I made a post about this earlier. I think I watched the entire movie, and up to that point, I forgot we hadn't seen the cowl.
I actually had two, and I remember with like because all the marketing that was an actual scene from the movie, he never had the cowl on. And then all the marketing that was just cups and posters and this and that, he always had this cowl on. And I'm like, okay, so obviously he's gonna have it in the movie. But because of the way the marketing was, I'm like, well, we haven't seen it anywhere, so it's going to be in this movie for like a minute, isn't it? And it was actually in the movie a lot longer than I thought. Yeah. It's just every scene that he would have had it on would have been a pretty big spoiler, so that's why it wasn't in the trailers. And so I was happy and like because like you said, I forgot he hadn't worn it yet. So when it happened, I was like, oh, that's right. And then he had it on like
slow motion it too.
And I'm like, okay, this is pretty great.
Oh man, the joke Deadpool made, I think, was probably one of the best jokes in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say I don't want to lose your monetization.
Yeah.
I already said dicks and butts and stuff. Go ahead.
When he was like, "What's the wind resistant on those blowjob handles?" Yeah. Like, god damn. But I will say, just to kind of backtrack a bit, Blade delivering the ice skating uphill again. I knew it was coming. And I'm so happy they did it. It was one of those you could definitely tell the line's coming. Like
it's the Norman Osborn, something of a scientist myself, kind of thing. Yeah, you got to do it.
But I would have loved that if they would have thrown like the rave music from the beginning of the first Blade in it, that would have just been like aces for me. But
I mean, I have to say, going back to that too, like the Gambit fighting was like
that's
way
so good, perfect, man. That's what that's it too. Is like the suit was great. Channing Tatum when they actually let him be talk a little bit, legible to hearing it. It was great. The accent was great. I think like the beginning when he introduces himself was awesome, and the fight scene. I mean, dude, the cards lighting up, blowing up people, the staff work.
So I loved X-23 having the sunglasses from.
That was a good too.
Very good.
What I was gonna say about I think the one thing that would put a cherry on top of that, if they were able to go back and just kind of add the line somewhere and just be like, "My name is Gambit, remember it." Like that would have been that if they did that would have been like 100%. I would have gone over so bad. Rest in peace, Nice Pool.
Oh my god,
that was such an awkward moment because you can see in the mask like how Wayne Wilson was just like. Oh,
you don't regenerate. Oh shoot! Like,
and then Wolverine's like, "You really are God's perfect idiot." And I was like, "That's it."
I just like when Nice Pool's like been completely killed, and he's like just trying to see like if the like stump of a neck is okay. He's like, "Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be. I don't think he's gonna come back from that."
It's an ice cream cart. They have a tourniquet, and it's like they don't have.
Dude, the freaking Honda Odyssey that kept on coming up.
Oh my god, I was laughing because I'm like, why? Where is this car commercial coming from? Why were you like?
Have you seen them?
I just got a breaking news thing.
Oh yeah,
we go. It's a Power Rangers thing. I got a breaking news thing that just got sent to me.
Sure.
Okay. There is currently a warrant out for Hector David Jr.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that earlier.
Damn.
So I know that's all we're gonna say about it. But all right, we kind of put a thing out here on the channel. I put out all the information that was confirmed, and that's what I went with. And that's I know people were like, I want more context. I was like, I'm not putting an assault on my page.
No.
So
I don't blame you.
But yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no.
You're good.
But Honda Odyssey, that's what I was talking about, and then we were talking about sorry about that.
The whole fight scene in the Honda was
I just loved how he was like, I hate the fucking Honda Odyssey, like and he's just like dogging on it the entire time. And then like
I sent you a meme that I saw with the Honda Odyssey that I think was perfect.
I was dying when like they finally cut to the end of the fight and Deadpool's just wrapped like a mummy in the seatbelt. Like it's so good.
When he goes like, I was wrong about the Honda Odyssey. The Honda Odyssey. Well, he goes,
the Honda Odyssey fucks.
And he's like, but you don't. Azale, the little Deadpool variants were cool. I think it was cool to see it all in one place. I saw that because I'm seeing the robot one, and I was like, what is the robot one? It was like $20.99, which I thought when I found out later on, I was pointing out, oh, that's cool. Like, let's just kind of throw that in.
Yeah, for sure.
The overly CGI fight was amazing still too. Even him coming out the window and just falling, like, man, that's all everyone's gonna remember of me. Like,
yeah, did you notice that was like a 10-second clip of like fully CGI'd?
Oh my god,
Hugh Jackman like acting like a Mortal Kombat character.
When people were like zooming in on it, and he's just an NPC. He's just like,
yeah. It brought me back to those Spider-Man days, though.
Yeah,
like, where like they made it look like it was just like completely CGI.
Yeah. Like I did not notice it, but until people pointed it out, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, he's just floating there. Like,
but negative 3-year-old Josh, we didn't know at that time. Like, we were like, oh my god, Tobey Maguire's so nimble. Like, you know,
right.
You know, we see it later on, like, oh my god. Like,
yeah. To keep it Wolverine, like the part when they're on top of the Statue of Liberty, the first one, and he like flies around like the crown and like cuts it off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, look at that. They got some sharp ass knives. You know.
What was they made a little comment. He was like, yeah, he's gonna be keeping his shirt on. He really let himself go since the divorce. I was like, and some of these lines are like, are they adding these in after? Like, and I was just because they're dog and like because Wolverine didn't react at all, right? And I was like, Hugh had to have react a little bit. Like, I would have like looked over at him or something.
Yeah, I can't wait for I hope they do. I assume that they will do one of those assembled episodes on Disney Plus where they go into behind the scenes, because I would love to see a bunch of this stuff.
They can release those after it releases on Disney Plus, though, right?
Yeah, it's like usually a couple months after that. So hopefully we get one.
I feel like they did do a lot in ADR, especially with Deadpool not having like a face. But I don't know if you guys remember during the writer's strike, they shut down production.
Yeah,
and then they resumed production during it, but they had to use the script. They couldn't do any ad-libbing or anything like that because they didn't have, obviously the writers on set.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds wasn't allowed to make any rewrites. They had to film what was turned in the very beginning.
Right.
So I think once the writer's strike broke and they were able to kind of go back and either do reshoots or when they were editing, they probably did a lot to.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
Make it more relevant to everything. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But when all the Deadpools were coming out, I looked at Alicia and I was like, welcome to every Comic-Con for the next 4
years. Oh, yeah. You're going to be seeing the Deadpool core.
Yeah. That's awesome. Just, it kind of really lets us to the end. But
it was fun looking, because I specifically was looking at the credits to see what some of the Deadpools were.
Matthew McConaughey is
Matthew McConaughey.
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion. And then Ryan and Blake's kids were Kidpool and Babypool.
And Gordon Reynolds, too.
Yeah.
I was slightly let down that was it Ladypool wasn't
a mask.
Either Taylor Swift or Ryan Reynolds in a wig.
I was very surprised she didn't take her mask off. I thought totally we're gonna get like a big reveal.
So was Gigi Hadid in the suit? Because that's what I've been hearing.
I'm not sure who was actually in the suit, but
it was Blake Lively's voice.
Yeah, it was Blake Lively's voice. Yeah.
I was gonna say something, but we were hearing a lot about Taylor Swift a lot.
Yeah.
She actually released a spoiler too.
Like, she did. Yeah.
No one noticed it, and everyone was like, "This isn't Taylor's weekend, I guess." But like, she put out one, and I thought like the whole Deadpool core was like really, really cool, really, really well done. Freaking, I don't know why I love that little ugly dog so much. Like, I don't get why. I think it's because like it just came out so lovable.
I think my favorite thing about it is that like the movie doesn't give you any answer on if it is an actual Deadpool variant and could regenerate. It's just a dog dressed up as Deadpool.
They kept on calling him Mary Poppins.
Yep.
And with every Ryan Reynolds, I love his product placement. Like I think in the Red Notice, he was drinking aviation gin, and then of course there was the Wrexham Deadpool, and it was played by one of the football players. So
I think my only maybe it was there because you're gonna have to do a lot of pausing to look, but I really was hoping that one of the Deadpools would be his X-Force suit because I love that gray white suit. I love that suit.
They had a Canada Deadpool that was kind of darker.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, so there were so many in there that I want to like freeze frame it, and see like how many we can see.
Yeah, So what I got from this movie was like the Fox universe is going to be alive. Like that's what I got from
at least for a little bit. Yeah,
like it's going to go on obviously up until Secret Wars, and then Secret Wars everything like gets,
because it's definitely going to be the world that has an incursion with the MCU.
Exactly. So the whole anchor bean is interesting because
It is.
we have the anchor bean is it was remade in Deadpool in the movie. We were always led to believe that Iron Man was the anchor bean.
I don't think he is.
And I don't think it doesn't sound like he is, or maybe that is the reason everything's problematic in the multiverse.
Right. Well, I mean, they did say that like it can take thousands of years.
So, right. They just decay and die off. So what did you guys kind of take from the end of the movie? Because it felt like a little bit of a setup.
Yeah, because it felt like because I agree with you. Like I guess since I'm between Deadpool and then also like between like the post credit scene of the Marvels, with like Beast and everything being in it. Right. I'm fully expecting that we'll see, the Foxverse and the Sacred Timeline be the two universes that have an incursion for Secret Wars.
Right.
And I think that the anchor being concept is for sure going to come up again.
Oh yeah.
I've seen a lot of different speculation, like that maybe, especially with the casting stuff from over the weekend, that like maybe it is going to be Iron Man, and the premise of the Avengers movies is going to be trying to bring in an Iron Man variant to save the Sacred Timeline, and then they find out it's actually Doom that they've brought in, and like kind of that causes the conflict, and I could easily see that being like a route that they go. I know a lot of people think that the anchor being could be Wanda. I could see that. I don't know. It's tricky. I think it's pretty much between Wanda and Tony that it could possibly really be.
I've seen Spider-Man, but I think that's problematic to do.
That is too problematic to have a character that they don't own the full rights to be their anchor. So that they shouldn't do that. Probably
and even a character that obviously wasn't in the universe for half of its inception. I know that they retconned it, and they even added it here where they were like, oh, Peter Parker was the little boy in Iron Man 2, and they even had like in this when he was seeing a Happy Hogan, and I was kind of like, good Lord, like that's such like a just a way to shoehorn someone in where you didn't have to shoehorn.
No, yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Iron Man 2 retcon, like I it works for me, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I was gonna say I have a whole soapbox for Civil War and how they could have better introduced Iron Man or Spider-Man, but we'll save that for another talk. The anchor beans, I don't know. I mean, I could see either Cap or Iron Man, and obviously, like you said, it could be Cap, because it takes the thousands of years, and technically, Cap was still alive at the end of Endgame. He was old. So I
think that is the tricky thing too. Should we expect that the anchor being is someone who is dead in the MCU right now, or is still alive in the MCU right now?
Right, or getting ready to die, meaning Cap, or could it be Logan, Wolverine, but or maybe it's Sam Wilson, making him a bigger part of it too. So it'll be interesting to see who they decide to make the anchor being of 616, but
in case you guys don't know, I'm totally in love with Becky G. So like that's why there'll always be Becky G comments in my chat, because everyone knows that.
I mean, it's Becky G. I figured it was just normal.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So, anyways, but I don't know. When you guys were kind of talking, it kind of made me think, like, is it Thor? Like that would. He's immortal, because if they're picking the anchor beans, let's say look at Logan, right, as the other one. He would have been like the closest to being immortal, right?
Thor I really like as an idea.
And Thor has been the most consistent one in the
especially because there have been like rumblings of them doing a fifth Thor.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely.
He just said he'd do another one. He just said, like,
right.
I'm waiting to hear what they have planned.
And especially the way they left it off at the end of it, where he took the daughter. And kind of he's doing it, he's doing his own thing. So he's obviously
his character arc feels complete.
Yeah.
But I could easily see it, and then you could also bring it back around to the Deadpool Thor thing.
I put out earlier today, and people loved it. It's Madison.
I know. I was in a comment on that. Madison and Wong, they share the anchor.
Was it Madison with the Y, but not where you think it is?
Yeah.
It's funny because some people were like clueless in that, but someone was just like, the comments are just really good. And
I saw you were having to explain it to a couple people.
I don't think I even really explained it.
No, but they're like, who's that? And you're like, it's Madison. And it's like,
Like, yeah, it happened. So I think we'll talk about one last thing tonight. As far as, do you guys have any last thoughts on Deadpool Wolverine before we want to?
I mean, not really in particular. I like I said a while ago, I'm seeing it again on Saturday.
I think I'm gonna see it again too.
Yeah, I really loved it. I ended up putting it in rankings. So I kind of had hoped and figured it would break into my top 10, and it definitely did. So great time.
I loved it. Whether it's a precursor for things to come or it was a solid kind of send off to those characters as far as being main characters, and you might see like Deadpool or Wolverine pop up as like a side character to like a Secret Wars or stuff like that. I think it was a great way to end a trilogy for Deadpool, to where he doesn't have to be like the main focus, but he can be, you know, a supporting cast in some of these, you know, Avengers movies that are coming up. So
it sounds like he's got to be kind of like the Iron Man, you know, like, you know, just kind of plug in Tony where.
Yeah. At least like the representative of the Fox universe before they do a reboot.
So exactly. Yeah.
So that leads us to the big news that we got this weekend. Broke the internet.
I hate it so much.
See, I hate it. And honestly, I don't think I know. I don't think they gave us enough for me to hate the idea.
I think for me, like, because I was actually going to probably be doing a video about this sometime this week because I do really want to talk about it. I feel like Marcus Cosmonaut Variety Hour, he summed it up pretty perfectly on Twitter when he said something like, this could either be their greatest idea or their worst idea, and it will not be anything in between that. And I kind of agree with that sentiment. Like, when this kind of was rumored last week, I saw it and I was like, well, the Diz I can never say, like, the Diz Insider or whatever that, you know, that's like, they reported on it, and I'm like, that they're pretty reliable, but that sounds like a really weird choice. And then it happened. So I'm intrigued. I'm certainly open to the idea, and I don't think they would have done it if they didn't first feel desperate. It definitely feels like a desperate move. But then also, I don't think they would do it if they didn't have a cool idea for it. So I'm certainly here to see.
Tyler?
I don't like anything about it.
And that's also fair. Like, I totally get why people.
That's how you feel, Tyler.
Yeah.
That's how you really feel.
Am I gonna watch it? Absolutely.
Right.
But I don't like the Russos. The Russos were great, and Winter Soldier. They did decent stuff with Thanos in Infinity War. They turned him into just another beat 'em up villain, you know, a morally gray character, and then made him a bad guy that just wanted to kill everybody in Endgame. I think there's a lot of great directors, up and coming directors, that have pulled off some really cool stuff that maybe deserve a shot. Maybe not obviously an Avengers movie helm, but
I feel like those do sort of get a little bit too much praise for the Avengers.
Yes.
Yes, of course you have to credit them for a lot of it, but especially for Infinity War and Endgame, it's the writing of Marcus and McFeely that put that thing together.
Yeah.
So
well, then that too, and like you have a character like a Black Panther. You know, Ryan Coogler did a phenomenal job with that movie and setting up that world. And I know he wasn't like a main character in the Infinity War and Endgame, but it's just like when you take someone else's characters that have been like so well established and phenomenal, and you don't build upon it, you kind of just throw them into like the background as just another chess piece on the board to.
Right.
But Robert Downey Jr. to me, like, he was a great Iron Man. He's way too expensive. I think I saw it today that they're paying him like almost $100 million for this movie, and it's
we've been told it's more than 80 million.
Yeah,
so
I think it was 100 million. I think because it was 50 for each Avengers.
Yeah, and then you look at again, little tiny soapbox for as far as the industry is, but it's like you have the guy who created like Spider-Man 2099 and a couple other characters who had to start a GoFundMe for his cancer treatment, and it's like here you are paying this guy $80+ million to come back and save your MCU if you're that desperate.
Well, and that's the thing that's kind of tricky because like I feel like a lot of people, I've said this on Twitter, are like thinking that because of like this announcement and everything, they're thinking that he's gonna be the permanent doom for the next like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not.
And see, I like your idea where you're saying that they're trying to pull through another like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Which I like, but at the same time, I also don't like how they made so many characters, especially with Spider-Man stories, products of Tony Stark, and it shouldn't have been that way.
For sure. And
so I don't like,
definitely makes it like kind of be like, oh great, another thing that Tony was involved in. Yeah.
What I'd like to see is him become like the superior Iron Man kind of thing, the Doom, that variant, and then like the dude who will be Doom to kind of come through and either axe him at the end of it, or
would be cool.
Something like that, where they're doing that, where they're trying to find,
that would be a cool way to like end Secret Wars, like the real Doom comes in.
Exactly, like we have this Anchor Bean thing now, so they're grasping at straws, trying to find out who this Anchor Bean is. Like maybe it's Tony Stark. They pull in this dude who ends up being, the
thing is too is that like it's such a simple little thing, but I love the full circle moment of the MCU's first hero now playing the MCU's like final villain before the reboot. That's kind of cool.
But even you get to the character like on a surface level, is that Dr. Doom never takes off his mask.
True.
No.
So you have this guy.
Right.
So are you going for the shock value of him removing the mask, and you see like, Anthony Mackie's, Captain America and Tom Holland Spider-Man, like now just flipping out because they're looking at the face of a Tony Stark who's not a Tony Stark.
If because like Doom's face is kind of messed up or whatever a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if they like made it look like how Tony's was when after he snapped. Or like half his face was burnt. It'd be cool if they did that. So it would even still look like Tony. It would look like how Tony last left Tony, but for different reasons.
I want to say I trust the process, but at the same time, I just think that
I think it's all going to come down to being a character that's going to basically never take the mask off.
Yeah.
What's like his voice going to like? I know Robert Downey Jr. can give a different performance that's going to feel distinct. Yeah. But I think that's what's going to sell it is if we can watch his performance and see a different character, not just constantly see Tony in that.
Yeah. So real quick, I think Robert Downey Jr. was doing an interview after Oppenheimer, right? Or of the success of Oppenheimer, and he really, really felt that like his career was over after Iron Man. Like he was Christopher Reeve and Mark Hamill did. You know what I mean? Like there was. Like it was going to be hard for him to do another role and for people not to see him as Iron Man,
right?
And that he wasn't going to be taken like to be in a movie like Oppenheimer, right? And then it said it gave him more appreciation for what he did for Iron Man because he almost kind of was like, looking down on it for a little bit, and then it opened up the idea of him to coming back to Marvel. Now he just kind of said coming back to Marvel because I'm guessing those talks were probably happening at the time that Oppenheimer was going through its award season and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's hard to say. Because it's got to be sometime between like that and like a couple months ago. Because obviously, it's whenever they decided to pivot from Kane.
Well, and that's we kind of know they were going to be pivot from Kane for the last like year and a half or so.
Right.
Now, on what I think they're going to do here, I really think this is an entry point for Iron Man to come back. And I think it's more likely going to be a way for Robert Downey Jr. to come back eventually as Iron Man. And again, to be that sort of like, I'm not going to be a main player, but I'm around and I can come back if I need to sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does kind of like trivialize the character of Doom and it will seem like that for a bit, but like Ultron had the same issue, right? Like Ultron is supposed to be like this really big villain. He's never really supposed to go away, yet we have not seen him since, Avengers 2. I think what we're going to get here, and it is a power move on Marvel's end. You know what I mean? Like we are trying to figure out what is going wrong. Obviously, Bob Iger is back in charge with Disney. They've been wanting to move away from less series, more blockbusters
was out of their control.
So, I think that really messed up their plans as well.
Yeah. Oh wow! Whoa. Dryer's done.
Hot take here. Robert Downey Jr. has a worse criminal record than Jonathan Majors does.
Agreed. Yes.
And
but this is not the time we're in. That's the thing.
Right.
Well, it's also for very different things.
But something that wasn't even proven. He wasn't even proven guilty. But Robert Downey Jr. is a drug trafficker. Stuff, so obviously, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I get what you're saying, but
where it's like, oh, if you're just bringing him back in, it's like, well,
Well, I think also like Jonathan Majors aside, you also have to factor in like the terrible reception of like Quantumania. And stuff like that, to where I think people were just kind of getting soured on Kane's as a character anyway, not even talking about who's playing the character, because they could have just recast the character.
That's
but
fair.
they're moving on from the whole plot line. So
yeah, I mean, they kind of ended it in Loki.
Yeah, I was perfectly content with how it ended in Loki.
I thought it was kind of a nice ending for Kang.
I thought it was wow, there it is again. Sorry. I thought that it was a great way. Why is it so long?
So obviously your dryer is a fan of Kang.
Like Dr. Doom. Jeez.
This would have been good times to just go on a rampage. Just talk like Johnny Storm the entire time.
yeah. But no, I just think that it's people were kind of tired of Kang. They had found a good way to sort of drop that with the Loki storyline and everything. So I think that was the right move after all.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of, you know, again, just for me and Josh, you know, like I understand where you're coming from, Tyler, because especially like, you know, he has like an extensive criminal record. And my thing, I said this in a video like almost a year ago now, is like, we are getting Iron Man action figures, but I couldn't get a Jason head on my remastered figure.
No,
you know, so like, you know, it's just all kind of point of view. And unfortunately, that's kind of like the times that we are in right now. It's like, you know, if something's that's going on now, it's just gonna be so hyper sensationalized. And then we're like Eminem. Look at Eminem. You know,
no, I'm fully aware of it. It was just something I saw and I was like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. But
I totally see the idea behind it. Where it's like, we should be fair here. We should be fair.
Yeah. And I have to say, you know, Robert Downey Jr. was almost like I think the difference was, you know, with Jonathan Majors, there was a victim, right? With Robert Downey Jr., he was his own victim. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit of a different aspect.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right. But it was a lot more of a personal battle and for him and struggle than I get it.
Yeah. I will say though, I think the worst thing for me that came out of San Diego Comic-Con was that we're finally getting Fantastic Four, and I was like, this should have happened many years ago.
And it looked, I don't, did you guys watch the leaks?
Yeah.
I got the trailer. Someone sent me the trailer, and second I tried to put it up, Disney flagged me.
Oh yeah, like it was like whack-a-mole. I was seeing it up and down on Twitter all day.
Yeah. So I'm not even gonna try it anymore. But
it's amazing. But I wish that we would have had this maybe 8 years ago. Like something.
But at the same time, I'm glad that they seemed like they were taking their time with it. I wouldn't want them to rush it. So I hope it actually is as good as it looks like it is.
I'll have to, you know, it's one of those things where like the guy that's Johnny Storm, like he really hasn't shown me any sort of like acting ability, you know, anything outside of Stranger Things. So it's one of those things where I think they're taking a chance on him. Hopefully he knocks it out of the park.
We'll get an early indication in Gladiator.
Yeah. But
that's right.
That's true. But compared to the other people, like the rest of the cast, like I think they're all great cast.
Yeah, the only one I was like not very familiar with before was Ben Grimm, and so I've been watching The Bear, and so seeing his performance in The Bear recently, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be he's gonna be a great Ben.
I refuse to watch that show because I don't want to go back to that PTSD of working in the service industry.
Oh, totally fair. Oh, then you should not watch it.
I've heard amazing things. But I'm just like,
we started watching it like as a family like a week or two ago. We're like halfway through it already. It's fantastic. We can't stop watching it. So
I've heard amazing things, and I'm like, it's phenomenal that it's winning these awards and it's got these great casts. But I'm like, I left those service industry behind, man. And
but at the same time, maybe you'll get it because maybe you really like it because it is just
that's true.
So
that's true. When I'm done watching The Sopranos again, I'll probably start it.
It's funny you bring that up because like I'll just go back old and watch something old again, and I need to I'm still trying to start Naruto. I'm still trying to start like all these other things I've never seen before. And
I just did a Breaking Bad rewatch not too long ago.
Nice.
And so
I think I've talked about this a couple times here on the channel, but like when my daughter was born last year, and you feed the baby every 3 hours.
Yeah,
she doesn't know it, but she watched the entire Game of Thrones with me again. So yeah. But guys, final thoughts on anything that we talked about tonight?
Everything's good. Those are my thoughts on the Marvel Universe. Like I said, they've obviously been doing something right. They've been still making these movies. People are still going to see them. Yeah. To this comment right there that you just had, you cannot compare Dr. Doom to that train wreck of a show. That is so bad.
I never got through the second episode. Yeah,
dude. The best part of that show was like the last 2 minutes of the season finale of the first season because it was like game accurate. He didn't talk, had the helmet on. It was just full on like OP.
What? They actually knew what the character was like for a second?
For 2 minutes, man. And then that was it.
But, it's funny because I heard the second season was a lot better, and then they canceled it. So
yeah.
I was like,
that show was doomed from the start.
Well, they're like, hey, we're shopping it around. I was like, well, it's going to take a lot of people to change.
Yeah.
To do
that. And also like a show like that, the production, like that it's the budget cost for it. It's not worth it.
No, not at all.
And Josh, any last thoughts for you?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it feels good to like be excited for current MCU and also future MCU again, because in the past it just has kind of been, somewhat recently, it's been just kind of like
stale.
Yeah, I see it because it's an MCU thing, and I'm this far into it that I'm not gonna stop now, So it's like I'll still watch everything, and I do still enjoy, the experience of just being caught up on everything. But it is great to like want to rewatch this and to like think that the Avengers movies might not just like be a bunch of random messes and maybe be a coherent film. So like I'm excited to see what they do, and they have a lot of work to do, but I like what I've been seeing. So
awesome.
Yeah, to finish that, exactly. It was the Deadpool definitely reinvigorated it and refreshed it. Whether it was an ending for some of those characters, I'm sure on the Elektra part for sure, but whether it's opening the door for a Gambit and Wesley Snipes to come back, it's like a welcome back. But at the same time, if that was their end, then by all means, they definitely went out on a high note.
For sure.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun watching Deadpool and Wolverine. I know we went full spoilers. I know a lot of people are talking about that. One thing I do want to talk about is like I feel like we're back in the age of must see TV.
Yep.
That you need to be watching things right away or expect to be spoiled. That's the reality of it, and it's kind of nice again because we're having we can have immediate discussions about it. Where before we're waiting for everyone to catch up.
Yeah.
And it's just not like that anymore right now, which is really cool because that means we have a lot of good stuff to watch, and whether it be Game of or House of the Dragon or The Acolyte, which I enjoyed, or
I need to watch that. I was waiting for it to be all done so I could just like binge it.
I enjoyed it. Or even Deadpool and Wolverine, guys, like this is the reality. Like streaming is a luxury, I know this is what it is, but as far as that, I feel like Marvel, I think there's a better idea of where Marvel wants to go, and that makes me feel better about it. As far as Power Rangers, it's weird right now. So like, I know a lot of people are still talking about Power Ranger stuff in the chat. We'll probably go over more of that on the next stream, but I really want to talk about this movie with you guys and with Tyler and Josh. Some things I want to talk about before we leave today. More Phenomenal Expo San Antonio is coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. So we're having a lot of great guests. Obviously, you guys know we have Dragon Ranger Shiro Uzumi will be there, his first U.S. appearance.
That's right.
The Legacy of Nerd, as a brand, we are presenting, or we sponsored Charlie Kirsch to come to San Antonio.
Nice.
So she'll be coming here as well. And then, of course, just a lot of, we got Selwyn Ward, Steve Cardenas, Nakia Burris, we got Catherine Sutherland, Brandon J. McLaren, which I'm excited about, super excited about that one.
Some of the usuals.
Andrew Gray, Michael Gatto will make his first Texas appearance here in San Antonio, which I heard he's really, really nice. So there'll be a lot of guests there as well. I'll be moderating. I know I'm moderating the Jew Ranger panel at the very least.
Congrats.
Thank you. And then from then on, we're figuring that. I think I'm doing most of the panels. I just haven't committed. I guess I should commit to them, but I need to talk to Adam. Guys, also remember to check out. We got the new website finally up. It's been a long time trying to get it up. www.thelegacyofnerd.com. Make sure you guys go check that out. All my stuff gets like put on this one page now automatically, so I don't even have to update it. So if you guys are like following me and just want to go to one place, it's all there now. So this is pretty cool. Yes, I know that we've had some breaking news here lately, guys. I know that people want more. I put out as much as I can. That is reasonable as far as I just put facts, and that's all I can put. We'll talk more if you want to, I guess, about some of those things. There's no other things we really focus here, but the things we're kind of focusing on is branching out as an entertainment brand, and then branching out, finding out what the heck is going on with Power Rangers, because we still love Power Rangers. So
yeah, man, I want to say real quick, I've been, with More Phenomenal since the very beginning. I'm so happy and proud of you for being able to, partner with him and do all this stuff. So it's really awesome to see. And again, thank you for everything you're doing with them, whether it's sponsoring the guest, doing all the moderation of the panels. It's the Power Ranger fandom in San Antonio is in good hands between you and Adam with More Phenomenal. So
yeah,
I can't say enough about it, man.
I feel like we're more united than we've been the last couple of years. And
it's just always nice to see another convention pop up and see it go smoothly. So
yeah, and it's surprisingly San Antonio has like a really, really good Power Rangers community, at Tokusatsu community. And we're kind of just all figuring that out right now. It's kind of a cool time. I just want to thank some people that have been in the chat. Josh, thank you for being here. Christian, AZ, Paul, Joshua, Henry, thanks for jumping in. Sentai Ranger Donnie, my lady Cat, of course, who is always helping out. Jonathan Busby, Dave Brown, Matt Fisher, thank you so much. I appreciate your super chats as well. Wanda, of course, thank you for always being here and being supportive. We got Eric Rodriguez. Of course, Maddie was in here earlier. I know some people left after when we started about Deadpool and Wolverine, which I totally understand. It's totally cool. But I want to thank you guys for all being here tonight. Just remember, be good to each other, be nice to each other. And our guys will see you on the next stream. Y'all have a good one.